Hi, my name is Tracy Collette. I'm a swim teacher and coach in the Atlanta area with 30 plus years experience. I've worked with the Wounded Warriors for 8 years. I've worked with all of the branches, 40 or so swim camps and clinics, became SOCOM's head coach 6 years ago, done 6 Warrior Games with them, and twice was asked to be a Team USA coach for the Invictus Games. I also work with our intellectually impaired athletes, those with IQs of 74 or lower, on the autism spectrum, or that have Down syndrome. And through that work, was also asked to coach Team USA at their World Championships, which are called the INAS Global Games. Grew up swimming, loved it, swam in high school, and then swam for the University of Georgia, go Dogs. And I've actually competed in masters swimming a few times, garnering a few state records, a couple national titles at YMCA Nationals, and I have a couple top 10 medals from world championships. So that's my background and history. So today's video is going to be focused on strength and conditioning, sport specific. So we're going to do some stuff that can help your swimming in particular. Granted, every sport needs to work on their core. So that's your squats and your lunges, your planks, your crunches, things like that. You really want to make sure you're focusing on your lower core as well. You don't need the six pack, but that lower core and those abdomen muscles down there are going to be more powerful for you when you're swimming or in your other sports actually. So right now we're going to start with some cords, stretch cords. These are made with handles. You can get them with paddles that swimmers use. These are CORDZ cords, but honestly, most gyms will have cords. You can order them online, but you just want something you can hold on to. So for swimming technique, if you're talking about your freestyle to start with, when you start with your swim stroke, you catch. So then you can just catch and do your stroke. Catch and do your stroke. You can also, when you do cords, make sure you are in control. Don't let yourself get caught up and go back in the other direction too quickly. You don't want shoulder issues. So you can also catch and recover if you'd like. You can do 2 at a time. You can do just presses. Then with the cords, you can also do all kinds of different exercises for your shoulders, especially with swimming with the rotation aspect of it. You want to make sure your shoulders are strengthened to keep them from over-rotating or getting bursitis and other injuries that happen with swimmers quite often. So you can use an internal, and you can also use external. Some of the exercises you can do with both arms. Overhead. You have to make sure if you can rotate, that's fine. If you can't, you have to be very careful with some of this stuff. You're just going to press forward. You can also do like a bench press, forward. You can do flies. And all this is going to help your upper body strength. So these are the flies on the front, and you can also do the reverse, which you always want to make sure you balance out your front and your back musculature. And it applies this way as well. And again, you can do both arms at the same time with that. Another thing you can do with your legs, if you put your foot in one of these, you can do some leg lifts this way. You can do them sideways. And you can do them from behind. Just gotta make sure they don't fall off your feet and snap back. Some other exercises you can do at home are helping with your shoulder strength. You can grab weights or cans of food or gallon jugs that are filled or half filled, whatever's good for you weight-wise. And then you just kind of lean over and you can raise your hands up into the T position and hold it. And then you can raise your hands up into the Y position. And then you can raise your hands up into the I position. So these are going to get all 3 sides of your shoulders. That helps with, again, protecting your shoulders from all of the rotation effects. So you can also lean over, you can do your flies, or flies also. If you're laying down, you can do this way. If you're holding weights, you can push up. So basically you can kind of mimic things that you'd find in a gym. Some of the equipment you find in a gym, you try to mimic that at home. But again, swimmer specific, they don't have machines that do this for breaststroke kick, right? And they don't have machines that do this necessarily. But if you're in a gym, you can do lat pull downs. You can do tricep press downs and pull-ups. So we use our lat muscles a lot in swimming, pushing from here to here. And also this part of the stroke is your tricep muscle, which people don't really use a whole lot during the regular day. One of the other things that you can do is you're gonna do a half squat jump into a streamline. So you're gonna squat down, make sure you're not all the way down. Squat, because this is how you would push off a wall if you're doing a turn. This also helps your power off the blocks on your start. You're gonna swing your arms up and press up, extend, and squeeze, and lengthen into a streamline. So half squat, push into your streamline. Half squat, you're getting all this tight. This mimics diving off the starting blocks or pushing off the wall after a flip turn. Squat, jump. The other thing, that lower core we were talking about, is you can do flutter kicks. So we're not doing Navy SEAL flutter kicks. We're just doing little baby kicks, and this is gonna get that lower core. If you can, you wanna be flat, and make sure your back is flat, you can also do streamline position. These are good to do on your back or your front. Because once again, you also wanna balance your front and your back exercises. Okay, so now we're gonna do some in the water strength and conditioning stuff, otherwise known as resistance training. And one of the things you can do is vertical kicking. So you're just kicking in the water, and this is gonna be easier than this, and this is gonna be easier than this. I'm a breaststroker, so I like to do egg beater more. I can do that a little bit easier. You can do breaststroke. This really helps strengthen some of those leg muscles, again, that you can't find a machine to mimic the motion. The other thing I really like to do is sculling. This is where you're just doing ins and outs like a figure 8 with your hands, and you're raising yourself up. You can hold that for a couple seconds, or you can just stay here and skull. You can also move. You can skull out front. So again, very tiny muscle movements from your hands, and I'm not kicking. You can also do kind of like scarecrow arms, windshield wipers, whatever you want to call them. I have my head up. You can put your head down. Sometimes we like to do sculling on a pull buoy. If you don't have a pull buoy and your pool has the water weights, you can use these too. You can just sit on them and skull. If you're really good, you can skull backwards. So this is just a great way to learn how to use your hands in the water to move. Part of the pulling too that you can do is using hand paddles that we've shown before. So this is resistance training because you have more surface area that you're pushing against the water. So it makes it a little bit harder to swim and get your arms through the water, but it also helps you with your catch and everything else. You can use a pull buoy, or you can just use paddles. And you just want to make sure your hands go back and you're pushing. So you can see you get a lot more distance per stroke because the paddles make your arms a little bit bigger. I would suggest doing freestyle with paddles. You can do some of the other strokes, but it's going to be really hard on your shoulders if you do butterfly. So if you're a beginner, just start with freestyle and you can work your way up to some of the other strokes. So then you can also get against the wall. You just put your feet against the wall and you can do breaststroke really quickly. Try not to push yourself off the wall. So your feet are pushing you back, but your arms are keeping you forward. You do those quite a bit, you'll feel it. You can also kick against the wall. you can do freestyle, breaststroke, butterfly, and then backstroke is the flutter kick, just like freestyle. And you can also use a kickboard. So instead of holding it normally, call it tombstone, and you can kick against the kickboard with it underwater. Again, it's just more surface area that you're pushing against the water. This goes back to one of the other videos we talked about body position. So as you can tell, this moves through the water way easier than this. And that's why that body position is so important. You want to slice through the water. You don't want to be pushing the water. You can also hold it like this when you're kicking. And one thing I also like to do, I actually really love this drill, is to see how many kicks I can get down the pool in. So you're kicking and then you're gliding, and then you have to do a super power kick to get going again. So kick, glide in that body position, and then I'm gonna kick again. But I have to have a really powerful kick in order to start moving after I've almost stopped. So if you do a few laps like that, you're gonna feel those leg muscles working hard. So this is just a brief introduction to some resistance training, strength exercises that you can do, trying to incorporate more stuff for swimming purposes. But again, you can go on the internet and find all kinds of exercises. There's all kinds of drills and things you can do in the pool, out of the pool. But this is just a touching base on some of the stuff that you can do. I hope you enjoyed it.